All right, you're now with me in my office. I didn't always have an office. As I told you before, I actually worked out of my home for a long time. And then I shared office space with someone at about $400 a month. And I did have a space to go to, and I did have a place where mail could come. And I actually felt pretty good about that separation. I had already done the separation between personal and business. I had a checking account for my business and a checking account for personal. I had two separate debit cards and two separate credit cards. So I had a credit card for personal, credit card for business. Debit's the same thing. In case I had to debit something for my business, I had it already set up and it could come out of that checking account. That's back in those days, I took draws from my business into my personal account. And of course, those draws are income that needs to be taxed. The other thing that I didn't mention before as an independent contractor, that really says that number one, you are a business person. Number two, no one's paying taxes on your behalf. You have to, including Social Security and Medicare. And if you are working and suddenly you find yourself without jobs, you are not eligible for unemployment from those current jobs. They might be able to go back in your history and find that you had been a W-2 employee. But let me tell you, if right out of the chute you become a business person and you've never been paid into unemployment, or sorry, I misspoke. Your employer has never paid into unemployment for you. You can't collect unemployment. So it's pretty serious to become a business person, an independent contractor, and be on your own. You have your taxes, and you're not eligible for unemployment unless you have several quarters before this new venture where your employer paid in. And you've got some pretty interesting deductions coming your way that you need to get schooled on. And once you become an independent contractor, part of everything you do is business related and can be deducted. And I'm here to tell you, not everything is business related and deductible. That's why you're two different people. So if you are out there having a meal with your friends at a place where you usually have maybe a business lunch, that meal with your friends is not a business expense. Um, People tend to think, well, everything I do during the course of the day is business. Well, that's not really true. And we're going to get into that pretty heavily in later videos and possibly one of the chapters of my business coaching book. It will tell you precisely what is deductible and not deductible against that business. But now here you are, you're a business owner. Maybe you don't have your own office yet, but you're thinking about getting one of those shared workspaces so that you have some place to go, because you're finding at home you get kind of distracted. Oh man, I've got this call to make. After this call, I'm going to go down and watch television, or I'm going to go out and get some lunch, or I'm going to take a jog, or I'm going to do something because I'm home and I'm tired of being home. And at night I'm home, and during the day I'm home. I don't want to be home. So I got an office, and I found that I was able to concentrate much more. That doesn't mean you need to get this kind of office. Now, obviously, this office is not like top of the line, and I don't have balconies and fancy upstairs. I'm not saying I wouldn't like that one day, but I don't. I have a very perfunctory, very, I would say, solid, practical office for me and my employees to work in. And we're pretty happy here. It's in a busy part of Santa Monica, and we kind of like it. And my employees do like to come here and work, and they do like the separation between home and business. Now, I am the business owner, and with that is a lot of responsibility. And the independent contractor that I am, and I continue to be, is what I want to speak to right now for just a few minutes. In order to be an independent contractor, you should have more than one client. If you have only one client and that client has requested that you be an independent contractor, you probably aren't an independent contractor if they are telling you what hours you're to work and what work you're supposed to get done and when. That really is more the definition of an employee. A lot of times your clients or your employer would like you to be an independent contractor because that relieves them of payroll tax, workers' comp, unemployment insurance, and other things that state and federal governments require an employer to pay on behalf of an employee. That's where it really gets difficult. You have to be sure that you're classified as a true independent contractor. That means that you are setting your hours, you are setting your workload, and you are pretty much on your own for that client. They don't dictate any of those things to you other than that you have a scope of work that you perform for them. So let's look at that again. To be a true independent contractor, we normally have more than one client. If it's one client and you're working 40 to 50 hours for them, it's unlikely that you are an independent contractor based on that one client. An independent contractor gets to be just that, independent. If you are on call all the time for this person and they are saying, I need you available from 8 to 6, and they are saying, this is what you get done today and this is what you get done tomorrow, you're more than likely their employee. So you're going to have to, I would tell you to Google it. Look up true definition of independent contractor and see if you qualify. That is really important. Secondarily, it's important even as an independent contractor to have that separate checking account, and that when your clients pay you, and you should be billing them, you should have an invoice, that it goes into that account. And that is the account that you're going to use for all your expenses. A portion of your cell phone, a portion of your auto, a portion of the expenses for your auto, a portion of your auto insurance. If you have to carry liability insurance, if you hire someone as an employee, there's a lot that goes into even being a very small business owner. An independent contractor at the beginning usually works all by themselves. Sometimes if they need help, they hire an outside person, and that person's an independent contractor. And what do you need to do? You need to know that those people have to have the same criteria that you had. Is this person that you've hired truly independent? Do they have other clients? Do they have a business license? Do they have insurance? Are they calling their own shots, or are you dictating to them all day long? If you're dictating to them all day long and they're looking like a personal assistant, most every single government agency views personal assistant as an employee. So you want to stay out of those arenas, because that independent person that you want to call an independent contractor that could be an employee could get you into some pretty big trouble if they go to an agency and say, you know what, I think I was misclassified. So the most important thing is to learn what truly defines an independent contractor. And I want to tell you that I am truly defined as an independent contractor with over, I think, 60 clients throughout the time I've been in business, and currently running with about 26 to 30 clients. I am an independent contractor. I bill twice a month. They pay directly to my corporation. I pay my employees from the corporation. That is a structure that you would want to look into once you got bigger and you were more confident. But really, if you're a sole proprietor, here's what I suggest. Make sure you know the definition of how people are paying you. Are you an independent contractor? If you're using your name in your business, you need to file for a DBA. Even if you're saying, my name is John Smith Plumbing, you should really get a DBA. That's doing business as, and you can go online and find out how to file a fictitious business name. Then you can take that fictitious business name and go to the bank and open a checking account. And then you can have people pay you in that name, and you can bill them in that name. And you know what? That's the beginning. That's only the beginning. Those are the first few steps. And I mean it. Please, whatever you do, get a separate checking account for your personal. When you want, as a sole proprietor, to get money in your personal account to pay personal expenses, take a draw. I will explain that as well. But the first thing first is make sure you're defined as an independent contractor. It really means that you're independent of what the normal rules of an employee are. And that's the big difference. Are you a contractor or are you an employee? And you know what? It's likely that the business owner that you're working with would love to classify you as an independent contractor. And so, if that's what you want to do, make sure you're independent. This is all about independence, but independence by the book, independence with structure. That doesn't mean that you're independent, that you run all over the place and break the rules. You still have to follow rules. So I am going to help you with that. So I hope this has helped you understand that one item, independent contractor, to begin your entrepreneurship and to begin your small business. Thanks so much. Not sure what's next up, but I think you'll be interested.